I'm certain we've all had debates on the strongest characters in Naruto. You've probably said Naruto, or Sasuke, or like me, you say Madara Uchiha. Yes, I know he was surpassed later on, but I rank him in my heart. Madara Uchiha will always be number one. But this is all beside the point. We rank them by who is best, but do we often stop and rank them from best to worst? Well, let's try that. It'll be a nice experiment, and it'll give us a chance to talk about some of the lesser known characters, even if it's shaming them as the 10 weakest. But hey, at least we're talking about them at all. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, we publish a new video every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. The Amagi's reach stretches beyond just this channel, so if you're a fan of us, please consider subscribing to our other channels and following us on all of our social media. Help us reach our goal of passing 100,000 followers on all of our accounts by the end of the year. Before we start, a small disclaimer. This is just an opinion. This is in no way an attack on your favorite characters or God's honest truth on the matter. It is opinion. So please don't slaughter me in the comments. Don't attack each other either. Thanks for listening. Now, without further ado, let's get into the video. Starting from the top of the bottom, let's begin with number 10, Kiba Inuzuka. Kiba isn't the weakest character really, but he's certainly not the strongest. Most of his strength comes in his team up with Akamaru. His fang over fang technique as well as his transformation abilities are pretty strong, but he doesn't go too far beyond these techniques. He's short-tempered and impulsive, and this causes mistakes in battle. He was considered by Shino to be a problem child during his time in the academy, and Shino spoke that he wished to be teamed up with anyone in class but Kiba. Looks like he didn't get his wish. Kiba is a bit overconfident in himself sometimes, and can be a real blockhead, as shown during the Chunin exams when Naruto managed to outsmart him and cause him to knock Akamaru out. He has very good senses, which makes him a great tracker, as shown when he's generally added to a team that is meant to search for somebody, such as the Sasuke recovery mission, as well as the Itachi pursuit mission. However, this can also be a downfall, as Naruto used this as a weakness by overwhelming those senses in battle. I'm sure you remember how he did it. So far, Kiba does not impress me. He grows, sure, but I wouldn't put him anywhere near the same tier as the likes of Sasuke, Naruto, Kakashi, or even current Sakura. This has earned him the title of 10th weakest shinobi in Naruto. Number 9, Shizune. Shizune is indeed a powerful jonin. She is a student of Tsunade, much like Sakura. However, her medical ninjutsu never surpassed Tsunade and was later surpassed by Sakura as well. This isn't to say she's not a good medical nin, but when it comes to fighting, I wouldn't put her too high. She was strong enough to face off against Kabuto during the first part of Naruto, but she doesn't display too much ability in that regard and seems more like a support character. Remember, just because we're ranking them by strongest to weakest does not mean that they're useless. Shizune is far from useless. She's just not particularly strong and seems more comfortable in a hospital or as Tsunade's aide. That's about as far as she goes. Coming in at number 8, we've got Karin Uzumaki. Karin was a kunoichi of the village hidden in the grass for a while, but she was never an overly impressive fighter. As said before, we're ranking by strength, not usefulness. She hasn't really done much fighting ever, now that I think about it, but what she did do was enough to at least earn her a spot here. Being an Uzumaki, she possesses incredible life force and chakra reserves. This means that she has the general longevity of an Uzumaki, but also possesses powerful energy that allows her to do all sorts of impressive things. Her focus is less on combat and more on support though. She is an incredible sensory type ninja. Sasuke claimed that she was unparalleled in this field. She also was a good healer. The extent of her knowledge in regards to techniques such as the Mystic Palms technique is unknown. However, her healing is some of the best there is, wherein she actually transfers some of her own life force to others through biting. This leaves her with presumably permanent scars, but can even bring someone fatally wounded back from the edge, as she did for Sasuke on various occasions. Like many others in her clan, she can produce the adamantine chakra chains, which she used to battle against Obito for a while, though this is really the only time we've ever seen her do much in battle. Number 7, Rin Nohara. Rin is a tricky situation due to her status as a Jinchuriki, no matter how short that time was. A tailed beast naturally makes you higher on the tiers of power due to the very nature of those chakra monsters. However, I still rank her low, and I'll explain why. Rin Nohara was part of Team Minato, beside Kakashi and Obito. She mimicked Sakura's status as part of Team 7. However, Rin managed to do it without being annoying. That being said, she doesn't really know many jutsu. She was proficient in fire, water, and yang releases, though she wasn't really much more than a medical nin. This was closer to her role in the team than anything. Despite the lack of jutsu, she was strong in willpower, even being able to fight against the interrogation tactics used against her when she was captured during the Kanabi Bridge demolition mission. She also displayed more of this willpower when she opted for suicide by Kakashi. This showed the strength of her will and convictions and how far she was willing to go in protecting her village from the tailed beast she had unwillingly been made the Jinchuriki of. Now, this is why I think she deserves her spot on the list of the week. It has nothing to do with her willpower, or maybe everything to do with it. I guess that's up to you to decide. It was her lack of control over the tailed beast. Yes, she was a strong-willed kunoichi, but she feared her lack of control and opted to kill herself, which was either a lack of willpower or an admission of weakness. She was dangerous, but not because her tailed beast made her so. She was less of a powerful warrior and more of a Trojan horse. She wasn't really dangerous all by herself, and was merely used as a vehicle by Kirigakure. Really, Madara Uchiha, aka the best character. That doesn't make her strong, it just makes her a victim. And that's what sets her apart from the likes of Naruto and Killer Bee, but it's also what got the story flowing in the manner that it did. So I guess we can thank her for being that ripple in the pond that made a tidal wave. Number 6, Ino Yamanaka. She's more like a rival to Sakura than anyone else, meaning she mostly does what Sakura does. Ino's biggest saving grace was her mind transfer jutsu, which allowed her to switch minds with another being and also allowed her to talk to others via telepathy, a trait that ran in her clan. She was also a skilled medical nin, similar to Sakura, but when it comes down to it, she wasn't that big of a deal. She had access to earth, water, yin, and yang releases. She possesses above average intelligence, graduating at the top of her class alongside Sasuke and Shino. She can be very deceptive in battle, but she seems to be a better sensory type ninja as opposed to an actual warrior, which makes her more suitable for the intel team rather than an actual combat team. In fact, I'm pretty sure that this is what she's doing in Boruto, so it seems she's smarter than we thought. Number 5, Tenten. You don't know how bad I hate putting her in here. She's an underrated character in my opinion, and I always thought she was cuter than Sakura and Ino when I was growing up, but when it comes down to strength, she falls short. I blame Kishimoto and the lack of use for her. She sort of fell by the wayside a bit and had less screen time than even the swing set outside the academy. For real, that swing set was more fleshed out than she was. Pardon my saltiness. Tenten just deserves more. Onto her stats. Tenten's greatest technique was her Fuin Jutsu, which she generally used for storing and summoning weapons. She was also a weapons specialist, which was her main gig. She was also proficient in Taijutsu and is one of the few characters whose eyes got bigger as she got older. Cute. Sorry, I can't help it. Anyway, while she is good at Taijutsu, she apparently wasn't strong enough to beat Temari, and that was just sad. But she does later get strong enough to even pressure Kisame Hoshigaki, but she isn't the strongest shinobi, and sadly this spot on the list is well deserved. I blame Kishimoto. Number 4, Ebisu. Ebisu was a jonin in charge of training elite ninja, and was head of Team Ebisu, which consisted of Konohamaru, Udon, and Moegi. Despite it being his job to train elite shinobi, he doesn't seem strong enough for that, and these so-called elite shinobi he's trained aren't even on par with half of the people from the Hyuga clan. Truly, Hinata could smoke him and his team, and I'm talking Pain Arc Hinata. Ebisu had a single moment of glory, and that was during his battle against the Naraka path of the 6 Paths of Pain. And even then, he still needed to be saved by his student, Konohamaru, who was using a technique that was taught to him by Naruto. So, Ebisu ranks low. I wonder why the Hokage kept him around. It's so hard to find good help these days. Coming in at number 3, Udon. During his time at the academy, he considered himself to be a loser, and during his time as a shinobi on Team Ebisu, he felt he was holding everyone back. At least he's self-aware. He could perform the bouncy bounce technique in collaboration with his teammates, but that's not saying much. He somehow made Jonin during the 7th Hokage's era, but that drags the title of Jonin through the mud a little, as his only notable technique relies on that snotty nose that used to be only used for comedy relief. He really should remain comedy relief, as the title of Jonin doesn't fit. Feels more like an eternal genin to me. It just goes to show they hand out those green flak vests to anyone these days. Number 2, Mizuki. Remember that guy from the first episode of Naruto? The white-haired guy who convinced Naruto to steal the Scroll of Seals? Yeah, that guy. Wasn't that great of a shinobi. He was only chunin at the time that he betrayed the village. He sent a desperate Naruto out to steal the scroll that he had planned to take for himself. He'd planned to kill Naruto afterwards and make his escape, but he was defeated by Naruto and Iruka. He would later appear as a muscle-bound behemoth on steroids. However, even then, he wasn't much to write home about, and even lost his capacities as a ninja when his cursed seal of steroids backfired on him. When he used to have the capacity to be a ninja, he was skilled at using Earth Release, which allowed him to hide underground where he could attack people. But he apparently wasn't all that skilled because he got stomped by a kid. Yeah, that kid did have the second Hokage Shadow Clone Jutsu technique, but he was still just a kid. An academy student, no less. Mizuki got beat up by someone not even Genin level. That goes on your permanent record, bub. Last and definitely least is number 1 on our list, Iruka Umino. Yes, we love Iruka sensei, but that isn't the point. As a shinobi, he was a bit of a disappointment. He was a brother figure to Naruto, and one of the only villagers to actually give a damn about the poor Jinchuriki, even though Iruka's own parents were victims of the Demon Fox's attack. He seemed to take complete responsibility for the boy until Naruto ended up on Team Kakashi, though he still kept an eye on his charge further. Iruka, however, isn't that impressive of a shinobi. Remember number 2 on the list? Mizuki? The guy who got turned into a punching bag by a 12-year-old pre-Genin? Well, that same guy kicked Iruka's butt on multiple occasions, so it's only fitting that we put him here on the list. Now, if this were a top 10 purest personalities and morally correct Naruto characters ranked video, Iruka would be at the very top, especially since he is a symbol of the very things we as humans should attempt to achieve and generally don't. But as a shinobi, he seems better suited to those low-rank missions, such as recycling old cans and saving cats from trees. And that's okay. We love you, Iruka-sensei. And that is it. That's the list. And I'm sure that some of you have different opinions on this matter, so please tell us about it. I would love to hear what your top 10 weakest shinobi list has on it, as well as your reasons why. Remember, as I said at the beginning of the video, be kind and don't disrespect each other or I'ma getcha. I look forward to seeing what you all come up with. Remember to like this video if you liked it, or even if you didn't. Like it for my sake. Subscribe if you haven't, and ring the bell to be notified when we drop more content. Peace out, my guys, gals, and ninja pals.